that is India, Nepal, China. Okay. So, that is the discussion I would like to make. So, first of all, please remember, this till recently we used to think that China will not be able to do much, because there is a mighty Himalayas, then the Tibetan plateau. So, there is no connection, it is very difficult historically to have any connection, but things are dramatically changing. In fact, the Nepal is this is a good example where geography is important, but we can in the modern day scenario this politics or other can change, even the geography can be defied, geography can be defied. See, for example, China has already constructed a major rail line from Beijing to Lhasa. Lhasa is the capital of Tibet, and by 2014 it is the highest rail link. That rail line is passing through the plateau more than 5,000 meters above sea level, where within the train, with the compartment, you need pressurizing, the air pressure should be there, otherwise you will feel difficult to breathe. It is like pressurized compartments are given, like an aircraft. In aircraft, pressurized compartments, so that we do not feel the low pressure when you fly up. Same thing is there in the train, in that Lhasa to Beijing train, you need pressurized compartments. So, they have constructed such a line, and in 2014 they further extended this line south to a place called Shigatse. They have extended the rail line to Shigatse, and now they are further extending it to a place called Girong, Girong, which is on the other side of the Himalayas near the Nepal border. They have already taken the rail line to that point. Now, it is a question, see, it is something like the north, they have reached till this point. Now, the great Himalayas on the other side is Nepal. So, if we can cross this great Himalaya, of course, it is not that easy, they may have to go for big tunnels and all, but again that is not that easy in Himalayas, we know it, but still they have reached that point. And in 2017, just to have an idea how the boundary, the geography is not a barrier, that is what I am trying to tell. In 2017, 59% of Chinese import by value came through air or from Tibet, not through India. Otherwise, all the export, all the bilateral trade to Nepal goes from India, Indian port, from Calcutta port, or even from Bangladesh, Chittagong port, from the south it used to come. But 59% of value of Chinese export to Nepal, or the Chinese import in Nepal, it came by air. So, that means geography is not a big factor, and also the Chinese connectivity between the air connectivity, which was maybe a few months before or a few years before, and now compared to the last 10 years, from 2010 to 2020, the weekly flights which increased from 14 to 98, connectivity has dramatically increased. And also in 2018, just for your information, Indian tourism is a big business in Nepal, or rather the main income for Nepal is tourism. In 2018, for your information, Indian tourists, 2 lakh Indian tourists visited, and many of them might have travelled by road, by bus. Anybody can walk into Nepal, no visa, no entry point, nothing is required. Please remember how many Chinese visited, 1.5 lakhs, just imagine. So, this geographical barrier is not a problem for connectivity, for trade, and things are dramatically changing. Even the internet, see, another big issue, big connectivity through internet. See, earlier the financial transaction used to be through post office and all, we had to send money to Nepal, means through post office or through bank demand draft and things like that. But now, because of the internet and connectivity, and because of the cable connection, you know, the Nepal and China have recently connected through a fiber link. A fiber link has been initiated. So, their connectivity is increasing, and also even in the modern day, the Nepal, the culture, see, even though they are connected very closely to India, please remember Nepal, China is also trying to exploit the Buddhist link, the old historic and cultural link. They are trying to use that also. So, it's not that, you know, we always think that Nepal cannot, Nepal kahan jayega, Nepal will not go anywhere, but the reality is Nepal can, or rather because of the technology, because of the modern day idea, the geographical limitations can be definitely, we can seriously overcome. And also, even though we have opened a pipeline during the economic blockade of 2015, please remember Nepal airlifted essential commodities to Kathmandu, sorry, China airlifted essential commodities. And not only that, in 2015, because of the blockade, China and Nepal signed a trade and transit treaty. Trade and transit treaty. Nepal and China signed a trade and transit treaty. And China said, you can use the Chinese ports for export and import, but of course, it is not that easy. But today it does not look, it is not easy, but tomorrow it may become easy. If they have connectivity, if there is a rail connectivity, if the way they are talking, China can do anything, because they have the money, they have the muscle power, they may do it. So, definitely the connectivity is increasing, and you know, the connection between Nepal and China are increasing. And not only that, and China is offering soft loans to Nepal, and also in 2019, in October 2019, the Chinese President Xi Jinping visited Kathmandu. After a visit to India, he landed in Kathmandu also. So, he had a visit to Kathmandu, and they have increased their relationship, or rather they improved their relationship. But of course, they were thinking of signing an extradition treaty. Extradition treaty means if anyone wanted in China, if they are in Nepal, Nepal will hand over that person, and similarly if Nepal wants somebody in China, or rather a Nepali citizen hiding in China, they will hand over. That is the extradition treaty we are talking, but that was not signed, because you know, China is very keen, because many of the Tibetan refugees are there in Nepal also, Tibetan refugees. And China still feel that the Tibetans like Dalai Lama and company staying in India and in Nepal is a threat to their you know, sovereignty and their safety and security. So, they were very keen to have an extradition treaty, but Nepal refused to sign that, luckily. So, that shows that there are not everything is you know, comfortable between Nepal and China, but they were trying. But otherwise, China is increasing their investment. China is trying to increase their aid and support to Nepal, and Nepal also is very keen to improve the relation, because they can balance, and Nepal is a big supporter of the Belt and Road Initiative. Nepal is a big supporter of the China's Belt and Road Initiative. So, there are a lot of movement forward, and now the question asked is, and Nepal is keen to improve the relation, because that can put pressure on India, and China will become more receptive to the Nepali concerns. So, that is why they are also very keen to do that. Then you know, just one more point I would like to you know, remind you is, what is that the other than that, why this Nepal, and can China, my question is, can China replace India in Nepal? See, that may not be possible, because India has lot of other advantages. As I told you, the cultural link, the civilizational link, the historic link, the geographical link, the religious link, but that is not there with China. But still, geography can be, I will say, geography, we should not think that because of geography Nepal will never move closer to China, that we cannot think. China may not be able to replace, but China can create lot of trouble for India. China can definitely put pressure on India, because a country which is very close to India, we have lost it because of our insensitivity towards their concerns. We should not have been allowing this to happen, and that too, it is never expected from a Hindu right wing party in power in India losing a Hindu kingdom, or rather which was a Hindu kingdom till recently, and they are not able to what you call connect together. They cannot create a chemistry. That is something we lost out, and in fact we miscalculated on the Madeshis. That was because in 2015 we did it because the 2015 Bihar elections were going on at that time, and BJP was fighting against the Mahagathbandhan. Janata Dal United, RJD, Congress were on one side, BJP on the other side. That was the time. It was a miscalculation by Amit Shah and company. They thought that by supporting the Madeshis, the people of Bihar will vote for BJP. They wanted to use this, that to gain a state, to win an election in a state. They had dragged this bilateral relation between India and Nepal into this electoral politics, and we miscalculated very badly. BJP lost the election also, and in the process we lost Nepal also. So that is how the India-Nepal, Nepal is, so what I am trying to say is that China is trying its level best. China is trying its level best to have a foothold and to create trouble for India, and India slowly lost Nepal, and the Nepali leadership is also more favorable to Chinese, especially the Communist Party there. They got an absolute majority, two-third majority in the parliament, but Indian action has increased the problem. We should have been careful, we should have been thoughtful, we should have been looking, we should have been having a far-sighted vision in Nepal, not a narrow vision for winning a couple of elections here and there. We should not have been bringing foreign policy into into an electoral politics, and that to a state election, which was a big mistake from our Indian side. So Nepal is trying to balance and trying to use both now. Nepal is happy. Why? Because they have one side on India and another side on China. China is willing to play the game, and it is for the discomfort of India. So we need to do something. So now the final question is, what needs to be done? Okay. So we have some mistakes have happened, border dispute is still there, and what is the way forward? Now the question is, one last discussion.